Sam and Evan, the head honchos at Reprise, the demo creation platform of your dreams. I didn't see that, Evan. I think I missed that when you're on the sales podcast. The demo creation platform of your dreams, now a reality built for pre-sale sales and marketing teams that know how to win. Welcome to the CRM Sushi Podcast. How the heck are y'all?
Doing well. Thank you, Wes.
And, for those of you from like the Boston, Cambridge area, y'all it means like you guys, like it's a plural, like multiple people. Okay. Just want to make sure we're on the same path here. Is that okay?
Makes sense. Translate.
Right. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, just kind of raise your hand and I'll throw some Southernese out there and, I might lose you. But hey, so Evan, we're going live with your episode in the sales podcast. So that was cool hearing your founder story, and Sam got on before you. And so I was like, so are you the buddy with the idea? Or are you the professor? And he's like, I'm the professor.
Oh yeah. Look at that bookshelf. Of course.
I know. But he's not, you said he'd be wearing a bow tie. He didn't have a bow tie.
Not for this one.
All right.
Not my luck.
So this is cool. So we talked a little bit about the software on the sales podcast, but I wanted to focus on the origin story, right? Your decision making, going through how you had some options, how this was presented to you, how you pulled the trigger quickly, and even through COVID, founding like right before COVID hit, you've still managed to grow. So this episode is more about the software, right? So like, show us what this is, what it does, who's it right for. You talked a little bit about it, but those that didn't listen to this, to the sales podcast, it's like, let's open up the hood, right? Show us behind the curtain, and so the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Wes. So it's not news to anyone in sales. Sales and marketing work together in almost everything they do.
Supposed to.
That is also true in demo environments.
Yeah.
You think about demo environments, what's happening, there's a change in the market right now where buyer expectations have changed. They want to see the product earlier in the process. And that's affecting both marketing and affecting sales. And that's showing up in things like, hashtag product-led growth, et cetera. And so our platform, it's a holistic platform for creating demo environments. And as a result, we actually work with marketing teams and sales teams. So we have 3 separate products, actually. One that is used by marketers to make product tours that, for example, they might embed on their homepage or put in a social media campaign. We have one that's used by account execs for live on a call, like how they customize it. And then we have a third product that is used by typically like a demo engineering team. It's kind of a hot new category. When they're think of it as like a virtual POC that can be used, again, live on a call or later in the funnel. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to actually just bring up how do you make one of those virtual POCs. Imagine you are a demo engineer, maybe a sales engineer, and you want to know, how do I make a copy of our production environment and encapsulate it as a standalone demo environment that can then be run by itself and customized and deployed to a sales team.
And so just so we're clear, a POC, you were talking about a proof of concept? Yeah,
sorry.
Okay. Yep.
I figured this was a sales podcast, so I can use sales terms, right?
Hey, I'm just making sure,
All right.
My dirty little secret, coming from the South, I'd talk slowly, throw in a few little jokes. Because, look, stereotypes are real. Somebody from the Northeast talking fast, blah, blah, like, oh, watch yourself. That guy, he's gonna, cut a hard deal, drive a hard bargain. And the Southerners, oh, well, bless your heart. Go easy on that boy. He's a few knives short of a full drawer. And like, all right, I run with that. And
I know I'm in trouble when a Southerner tells me, bless my heart or Help me understand.
Yeah, exactly. So I never assume, right? But yeah, people should know some of the acronyms, but I do like to explain at least once. So we don't talk too
Okay.
much. Don't leave them too far behind.
All right, no worries. So you want me to dive into it, or
Sure.
most useful? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So look, I'm a product guy, at heart. So I love showing off product and diving into the product. All right.
Yeah.
So put on your sales engineer hat. You've got a production environment, and and spinning up a demo version of that. That's a good hat. Spinning up a demo version of that is a pain. Maybe you've got like some. One of our customers does like a back-end data processing. And so like for them, a demo environment has like 5 petabytes of data in it, like no joke. So you can imagine spinning up one of those for like every customer or every call is a pain. So let's look at how do I encapsulate a production environment into a standalone demo environment, which can then be customized and deployed very efficiently. Sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let me share a screen here. All right, this is not Reprise. This is a fake app we made. It just looks like kind of any generic SaaS app. And we picked it because it's kind of, decently interactive, like it's got hovers, the chart you can kind of play around with. I think it has like a thing up here in the toolbar. It's got like a calendar in it. But basically think of it, it has kind of the same typical elements that your SaaS app probably has in it as well. Okay. All right. So we take this example SaaS app, and what we're going to do, we're going to open up. We have an extension here that we use for basically capturing the front end of your app, and then separating it from the back end so that you have control over the front end. So start this here. We capture the whole application. We're going to call this Wes's demo. I put the apostrophe after the S. I think that's the right way.
I still don't know if
All
it's like apostrophe or apostrophe S. Is it 2 S's? You think by this time in my life I would know that, but I don't.
With a guy whose name ends in S, I would think you would know.
I know.
When you're having a beer, is it Wes's beer?
I know. It's never been a priority. Sometimes it's just apostrophe. Sometimes it's apostrophe S. Just depends on my mood.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So I'm gonna hit start recording. And right now, Reprise is basically capturing everything that's exposed on the front end.
Okay.
So simply by clicking through the application here, it's basically rendering all the front end code, which our extension can see, and we're going to capture this and pull it down to our platform. Okay. So in a minute, I'm going to show you how you can edit that. But first, let's just see, did we actually did anything happen? Did we capture something? So I'm going to click preview. And what you're seeing right now is not that app. Okay. This is what Reprise has captured. And so you can see it still has hovers. I can click into this chart. I can go to transactions or calendar. If I'm in the calendar, I can make let's make a new meeting for Wes. Okay. So here's this meeting. So maybe my app for some reason has a calendar in it. Who knows why? I could go make events. If I'm giving a demo, if I'm a rep that's using this demo environment, on a call, I could be showing how I can make new calendar appointments, and I can kind of drag them around and move them, and I can use the app. Now, a common problem, imagine I'm a rep and I'm giving the demo. I finish my call and I have to go hop on the next call. But the problem is the demo environment I was using is now dirtied up by all of the changes I made to it on the first call. So one of the cool things that we get by making one of these synthetic POCs is that I can just click refresh to reload this synthetic demo environment. I go to calendar, it's not there anymore. It basically resets the demo environment back to its original clean state.
Right.
And this is something, I came out of sales. I was a sales rep. It's more than just the demos that I gave. It's the demos that other people gave as well. right? So like anyone who's sold software has been in the situation of having one demo environment that everybody shares. And you can imagine, right? Like I sold analytics software for a while. I'd be like, okay, I'm all queued up. I know exactly this analysis that I want to show on my call at 3 o'clock, and I got it all ready at noon. And I go at 3 o'clock and I click on the thing in front of the CEO and I'm like, look at this beautiful graph. Only it looks like garbage because the sales rep who had a demo at 2 changed the data for their demo. And now I'm not able to show what I want to see. This immediately gives every rep their own personal environment just by doing the few clicks that we did through right there. And that's before we even get into editing stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So,
and I was a little worried because I saw you clicking all of, home, transactions, calendar. And I was thinking, do you have to click everything to get the window to load? But then you go in and create a new event. You didn't click that earlier. So,
Yeah.
no.
And I don't understand the technology, but I guess part of me, like, I'm worried, like, is it like stealing code or something? Like, how are you doing this? It's almost like you're copying everything, but I don't know how you do it.
Put it this way: the builder here is the term in the business in the biz these days is a demo engineer. But think about it as a sales engineer whose main responsibility is for the demo environments that are used by a sales team. And what we're doing is we're giving them essentially product level control, application level control, without needing to be beholden to an engineering team. Which, by the way, the engineering team loves, because the engineering team, they'd rather be building core features. They don't want to be customizing demo environments. So we say to
oh, go ahead. Yeah. I was going to say, in terms of what this is, right? It's not the full product. It is simulating the product. So it's a lot like the analogy that I like to use when I'm talking to people is like, those old Western movies where they'd be like, facing off at noon or whatever it is. All those buildings that you see, it was only the set was only the front of the building.
Sure.
That's essentially what we're doing here is we're taking the front part of the software without all of the back part. So you can make changes and it doesn't have to agree with what the back end would say. And so that's where, we're taking what gets sent to and I'm not technical either. But we're taking what gets sent to the browser, not what the actual backend database has in it.
So let's keep going here. This application has other things in it, like a chat. So fine, the chat works in our standalone demo environment. But Evan mentioned a second ago, yes, there's a benefit in just being able to have your own standalone environment that's not shared with other reps. And yes, there's a benefit by being able to reset it back to a clean state. But what if you wanted to verticalize it? What if you give 2 different demos, one for enterprise prospects and one for SMB? Or what if you have 2 different demos, one for healthcare and one for, insurance, financial services? Like 2 totally different perspectives. You're going to have different sets of data, in the demo itself in order to appeal to that prospect. So basically, how do we edit this demo this demo environment now that we've made it? So we showed previewing it. Where did I put it? I think let's see here, hold on. There it is. All right, so here's the demo that we just did. Let's pull it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick, let's do a quick edit here. Let's change all examples of the word Jenna to West. It's a simple customization, but let's change this replay wide. I'm going to create a rule. All examples of Jenna get changed to Wes. Sound good?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so let's put that into effect. Let's preview this, load this up. So now up here, instead of saying Jenna, it says Wes. Instead of saying Jenna, it says Wes here. If I go to chat, instead of saying Jenna, it says Wes. Okay. So effectively what we've done is with like 2 clicks, we have quickly customized or modified the demo environment. And that allows you to either customize it on a per prospect basis, but more often customize it by like industry or by customer size, that you can have different versions of a demo that you're deploying out to your sales team.
Nice.
All right, so let me pause there. You obviously speak to a lot of sales professionals in your travels. Does this resonate?
Yeah, this thing, I'm just trying to wrap my brain on some typical scenarios. Like you'd mentioned before, you worked at HubSpot, and I'm a HubSpot Gold partner. Like, if I had a big team, would I use this to sell HubSpot?
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. Early days, it was 2008, 2009. And HubSpot sales team was small, like call it 10 reps. And we had just onboarded, whoever the newest junior account exec. And the way HubSpot demoed back then was by showing off HubSpot's own portal on the platform. So an account exec would be like, hey, here's HubSpot's portal, and here are our keywords, and here's our homepage. And the new junior sales rep was showing off the CMS, the homepage, and was showing off the delete button, and actually accidentally deleted HubSpot's real homepage. Boom, it was down. We had no homepage for like a day and a half.
Oh,
So there's real reasons why, from like real companies, why you don't want to have all of your account execs sharing one portal, and you really don't want them using like your company's actual portal.
yeah. So what about the argument then? Hey, I just have a sandbox, right? I have a demo account that I can fuddle around with,
Yeah.
and I'll answer my own question to a degree. Like, there's no real data in there. I don't have all the fancy charts. I don't have pipelines and stages and income and whatnot, but I can at least mess around with it and create a widget, create a dashboard, blah, blah, blah.
And that makes sense if you're the type of product that, all I do, I'm inputting data into somewhere, so maybe I can do that. But think about like a security company that wants to show that they can catch the latest virus, or a financial services company. Like we have Silicon Valley Bank is one of our customers. They wanted to show off their new account interface. Well, they're going to make a fake bank account, put real money in there to show the data. That's not going to work, right? So it's all of these different kinds of tools where they're actually doing that, actually making that fake demo environment. Like, software is not designed to work with fake data. It's designed to work with real data. And especially when you start talking about software that works with more sensitive data, a healthcare company, they can't make fake medical records or things like that very easily. So this is where we see a lot of the use cases around actually doing that, even if you can overcome the annoyance of, well, I now I've got an empty environment. Actually creating a full environment might not be possible.
Yeah.
One of our customers is a hardware company. They make IoT devices. For them to give a demo and show like 1,000 IoT devices in their dashboard, they actually need, if they're doing it live on production, even if you had that sandbox you're talking about, they'd need to have like 1,000 IoT devices like up and running and connected and provisioned and all that stuff. That's expensive to maintain, complicated, like not just in dollar cost, but in like human cost.
Yeah.
Much easier to do it once, capture that, and then deploy that as your perfect demo environment, which can then be spun up anytime you need it for a call.
Yeah. Are some doing like a golden demo and just keeping it like that? Or if they had that, would they need you, or can they use you to create that and then refine it, or like how would that work?
Most start with a golden demo. They've got already a sense of like, okay, this is our perfect demo. So they capture that. Okay. Very quickly, what they discover is that, okay, once we get the one golden demo, very quickly they discover that, okay, an optimization here is let's make variations of that depending on the prospect I'm speaking to. This is like basic segmentation. Like, would you use the same message every time you get on a sales call? No, of course not. Right? Sales is about understanding and listening to the person you're talking to, so you meet them where they are. It's not just in what you're saying, it's also in what you show. So you wouldn't show a generic golden demo to a healthcare client and then show the same thing to an insurance company.
Right.
It would be, I mean, you could, but that would be like not meeting the company, your prospect where they are. Better would be if you took your golden demo and then made 2 variations on it. Make your healthcare version that has example companies in it, like, Aetna and Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then make your insurance version of it that has companies, like whatever, insurance companies.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got this backwards.
Well, and I've seen this in the retail space. I've dabbled in real estate for over 20 years, and I've bought houses and repaired them and sold them. And most people have no vision, right? Like I walk in, they call it a dirty, ugly house, and it's like, I just smell money, right? Because that house has become a hassle to the owner. For whatever reason, they don't want to mess with it anymore. And so I can get a good deal on that house. And I know, okay, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever. I mean, rip out some carpet, some new paint, air the place out. I'll have a positive ROI. But most people can't see that you have to show them the perfect house, staged, and candles are lit and smells like oatmeal cookies. Okay, I want to buy this. I'm like, you're paying 50 grand more because you didn't have the vision, right? Yeah. But I think it's true in B2B as well, right? Because it's still humans. At the end of the day, we're dealing with humans. It's like, oh, it's not personal, it's just business. It's like, that's crap. It's all personal.
It's absolutely true. I mean, when I was a rep, I had a demo environment that showed the data for one company, and that example company was an SMB business that sold to small companies. And I remember when I was trying to demo to a larger company that sold big deals, I was on the phone with their head of sales, and they're like, so do you sell to people like us? Because like this data doesn't look like mine would look like. And I'd be like, no, imagine these bars would be bigger and these things, but they don't have that imagination because this is the 30-minute meeting before their next 30-minute meeting, and they would just want a yes or no, do I want this thing?
Yep.
And so those things, they can seem small, but they're the difference between winning and losing deals. I mean, like a great sales rep wins 20 to 25% of the time. Yeah. So, it's that 1% difference is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the customization, but don't forget it's also the feasibility. For some companies, making that staged house is actually almost impossible. Like one of our customers is Cloudera. Every one of their demo portals has a petabyte of data in it. It's almost infeasible to spin up one of those every single time you're trying to get on a call. It just takes too long.
Mm-hmm. Even with the new Apple M2 chip, they said it's really fast.
You've been listening to too many marketers.
Are you saying marketers are liars? Is that what you're saying? All right, I agree. Even if you didn't say it. Yeah, that's cool. And you're right. That 1%, I've written about that so many times. Like usually right around April when the Masters is coming on, I'll go refresh the post. It's because usually the winner wins by a stroke.
Yeah.
Right. But over 4 days, like 270 some odd strokes, is par. Right. And so it's like one quarter of 1% per day, they're better.
Yeah.
But at least in golf, if you come in second in the Masters, you still make like $1 million. But if you're 1/4 of 1% off against your competition, you get 0% of the commission.
Exactly. Well, and the demo itself too, right? It's the first impression of your product. It's the first impression of you and what you do and what value you can provide, and you don't get a second shot at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I like it. And it's too many people. I see it across the board in sales. Hey, here's our typical client. Here's your computer. Go get them. Oh yeah, here's your quota. And don't really tell them what to do. And I've seen horrible demos. I mean, I've sold CRM, software as a service exclusively, for 15 years now. And I don't know. Maybe I'm lucky. I mean, sales is in my blood, and I just cut to the chase. And when I started, I wasn't so techie, right? I was forced to become techie, more technical at least, to survive. But like early on, and maybe that's where like the beginner's luck. Beginner's luck is you don't know enough to talk over the prospect. Right. So you can answer the fundamental questions and just be nice and energetic and optimistic. And they're like, oh, I like this guy. I trust him. All right. Yeah, he couldn't answer all my questions, but he's a straight shooter. And so early on, I just asked the questions that affected sales. And they're like, yeah, all right, let's do this thing. And I meet other like techies who are like digging into the code and APIs and all this. I'm like, I can't spell API, dude. They do like 2-hour demos, like 3 of them, and still not make the sale. And I'm like, I'm closing the sale in 45 minutes.
Well, and you hit on something there that is so important. And it's part of the paradigm that we're trying to shift, which is that right now, for most companies, the demo that you get as a salesperson comes from your engineering team.
Yes.
And I love engineers, but I would not want them to have to tell the story of value behind the product. That's what salespeople are for.
Right.
And so what we're, the core of what we're doing here is putting that super important part of sales, the demo that you give, the product that you're showing, in the hands of salespeople so that they have the control to say, I want this to tell the story that's going to win me the deal, not the story that an engineer thought made sense or that was the easiest way to put the data into a clean environment.
Yeah, totally. I spent a lot of time in tech, in sales, and that was kind of what led me to create the Sales Whisperers. I would say, like, salespeople don't get sales training; they get product training. And the marketing department gets together with the operations or engineering, and they put this deck together, and they force it upon the salesperson, who then forces it upon the prospect. And I call it the Stepford salesperson. Right. Regardless of who you are, you're going to get all 87 slides, like, good luck with that, man. So, and that's why most people don't. And that's why a good salesperson wins, and an overly large percentage of the sales. So yeah, standardizing this is, that's cool. So obviously y'all struck a nerve, right? I mean, you've been growing. I heard your story on the Sales Podcast. It's been a good 3-year run, huh?
It has been so far, for sure. We've I mean, for a 3-year run, we thought this would be really cool. We thought it would be a new category. I don't think we'd expected to catch on just as fast as it has. I mean, it's been really incredible, the market demand for this.
You're up to
We're solving a problem that we had seen in our previous companies.
Yeah.
We're not being like super imaginative here.
Yeah.
We've come from doing B2B before. B2B SaaS is kind of the only thing we know how to do. And at all of the B2B SaaS companies we've been at, how to demo the product has been a huge problem.
Yeah.
Like we've tried the thing where, as I said, you have everyone using one shared portal. We tried the thing where like an engineering team makes like a separate anonymized database and a forked version of production that has to run on its own cluster. That's a pain in the ass. It has to be maintained by engineering. So I don't know. I mean, we speak to some prospects that like they demo the product, and to put this in quotes, like using like slides, and that's not a real demo product. That doesn't cut it these days. So I don't know. We've it doesn't seem that imaginative because we've seen the problem for so long.
Right. Well, and that's good. And that's how you're onto something. Solve real problems, right? And if you get hit in the face enough, it's like you need to go, oh hell. I mean, that's how I created my quiz, that CRM quiz. It's my top lead generator because I just found I was just asking the same questions over and over again. I'm like, man, this is slow. It's redundant. It's tiresome. The prospect doesn't always know the answers. So I'm like, hey, go take my quiz. You know, I always equate it to the Wheel of Fortune, right? Where they, after so many years, in the bonus round, they just now give you RSTLNE because everybody picked those letters. And now like you get like 3 more. So I'm like, go answer these questions. And when you're done, then we'll talk. Because I didn't want to go through, and it's why a doctor has you fill out the form and meet with the physician assistant before the doctor sees you. Like, how's your blood pressure? How's your cholesterol? How tall are you? Like, I don't want to ask those questions anymore, man. So let's speed this thing up, right? So, yeah, if you can standardize things and put your best foot forward, and probably, I mean, do you see companies like maybe giving this to their best salesperson and go like, show us how you demo this and kind of create that golden standard through their top performers?
That's my number one thing, especially when we have, because we have sales teams that buy us, pre-sales teams that buy us, and marketing teams that buy us. And when marketing teams buy us to put something on their website, the first thing I say is get your top salesperson in the room and ask them, what are the moments in the demo where if the prospect nods their heads, you've got them. That's what you want on your site. Yeah. And it's funny because, and I love marketers, but they're often like, oh, I got the whole story to go. It's like, no, you want that salesperson in the room because that's the person who knows what a good demo is, who knows what hits.
Yeah.
And so that's what we recommend. And you see that with a lot of our customers who have demos on their site.
Yeah, because you brought that up on your first interview. I kind of had an aha with that. Like, you can just put it on your site because people, they want to see how this works. They don't want to talk to a salesperson too soon. Mm-hmm. But Sam, you opened up with the idea that buyers want to see the product earlier in their buying decisions. I wrote that down. Why is that? Do you know? Like, what's evolving in the market that's driving that desire from the buyer?
Yeah, I don't think it's a sales thing. I don't even think it's a business thing. I think it's like a human consumer thing.
Yeah.
I think we can probably look to like mobile phones and like consumer apps for this. Like 20 years ago, people didn't walk around with their own computers and think about personal software at all. But 10 years ago, now everyone has a phone that they can buy software for. They can go to the Apple, iPhone store and they can like purchase apps for $2.99. Mm-hmm. And so suddenly like every human on the planet, not just procurement, every human on the planet is a software buyer. Mm-hmm. And they're used to like, can I try it before I buy? Can I see it right now? And so I think humans being humans, that's carried over from their expectations, in their what they do for personal software, that's carried over into the workplace. Mm-hmm. And so now when they show up and they're buying software for the company, it's no longer like, oh yeah, let's go through a long discovery process and like, answer all sorts of like questions before you show me any product. They're like, no, I kind of just want to see the product up front.
Mm-hmm. And a good example of this, I mean, there's a stat from Gartner that, only 5% of a customer's time is spent with a sales rep during the B2B buying journey. Yeah. So that says 2 things to me, right? One, you better make sure that 5% is good. That needs to be an incredible 5% because that can be what makes the difference. But then 2, you also need to be thinking about the other 95%. And what are you doing to funnel them into that 5% in a way that's going to get them excited?
Yeah. Do you know of any stories, case studies where of how this is accelerating sales? Do you have any clients that are like, man, we're hardly even talking to customers anymore, or we talking about 5%, right? Instead of 9, we've cut down our time with buyers, 50, 80, 90% because they're so convinced, and it's just they just want to talk to somebody to kind of wrap things up.
Yes. One of our first customers, and I'm not sure if I can name them and give some stats. So I'm going to just go with the stats version, and you can figure out who they are from our site, I'm sure. One of our customers, when they first got up and running with us, they found that deals that had taken a demo on the site before going into the live demo, which was also powered by us, were winning at a 5 to 7% higher rate, which again, we're talking about, right? The best salespeople are winning at 20 to 25%. So 5 to 7 is huge. And their sales cycle was half as long.
Oh, yeah.
And it was because they were coming in, the conversations were not like, so show me what you do. They were, I saw this thing on your site. I have this problem. It looks like you solve it. Can you show me how?
Yeah.
And just imagine as a salesperson, if that's your first call, that is so much better than the,
Right. Oh, yeah.
What do you do again? Can you give me the high level?
Well, that's what I did early on with Infusionsoft. And again, I didn't know this stuff. I passed the test out of necessity to put food on the table for the family. But I didn't have a website. I didn't know I had to create a free Weebly site, and the other techs in the certification were helping me at night. Like I'd buy drinks, they'd teach me HTML. Wow. Because you had to do a practicum, right? And you had to make a form and embed it on a website and make it active to part of the test. Yeah. So I approached Infusionsoft as an entrepreneur that was not a techie. So I saw all this confusion because when you're an engineer and you're just used to this stuff, you're like, yeah, just go here. And it's like, where is here? File, menu, edit, font. It's like it's embedded, it's nested, 6 layers deep. And when you don't know that as a user, you get frustrated. So I made all these little short videos on just 30 seconds to 3 minutes, how to do this one little thing, because I would get stumped. And then, so it's kind of like what y'all are doing, right? I was making my own little piecemeal demos, put them on YouTube and embed them on my website. And then people would come to me. By the time they got to me, they knew I knew my stuff. And then they just had a few little, like, this is, in my case, will it work for this? Yes, no. Okay, let's go. So I just had to brute force what y'all are now doing. So where the hell were y'all in 2008, huh? Where were you when I needed you?
Yeah. No,
Sam's busy adjusting his bow tie up in MIT. Where'd y'all meet? MIT?
Sam was at Harvard. I was at MIT and I cross-registered to take his class. So.
Oh man.
I had to beg for the
Sam's
spot.
in demand.
Yeah. No, I mean it's one of the things, right? And that's what's been so exciting about this journey over the past few years is, like, especially coming from sales, anyone who has sold software sales has a story like this. Yeah. I had to try to do this and it was terrible, right? Like I think I told you in the last podcast, we were talking about like, in 3 weeks, I told Brian I'd go do 6 months of research and then come back and say whether or not I was interested. And in 3 weeks, I came back and said, let's do it. Yeah. And it's because every meeting was like that. Everyone had that story, or worse, like the deal they lost because the demo didn't work.
Yeah.
And I can think of a few too. And so it's been it's been exciting to be able to help out salespeople through what is often one of the most difficult parts of this, is like actually showing the product and showing that it can do what I know as the salesperson it can do, but I just got to get that message in front of my prospect in the right way.
Yeah. Man, I remember I was summer 2000, I got recruited to a tech company that made OTDRs, optical time domain reflectometers. So shooting fiber optic cable and finding breaks, seeing where there's unacceptable loss. Maybe there's a section that got wet or something in the enclosure, and I'm thinking now, like we had floppy disk, right, with old images that we've shot for our demos because if the prospect didn't have fiber we could shoot, if it was all live and active, we couldn't shoot it. But you want to show them there on the spot, pop in a floppy disk and they were still, like you were saying, we had to have the exact wavelengths to show them. And it was all the same. Oh yeah, we're 1550, you're showing 1310. Like, dude, really? But like so over time, you just save all of these scenarios, and we had our golden disc. Like, let me pop this in and show you, and then zoom in and show the readings and how to take the measurements. And so This is always an issue. You got to demo the stuff. They got to, and I think now more than ever, like people, nobody trusts anybody anymore. There's deep fakes. There's all this stuff. So it's like,
Oh yeah.
you got to be good and showing your stuff. So this is cool.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. It's another important part is that there is that demand from buyers to see the product, right? Like when SaaS was young, you could sit there and talk about, look at this cool thing I'm going to do for you, and they'd buy a promise. And unfortunately, there were too many unscrupulous actors in those days, and now every buyer's bought 10 things, and 7 of them didn't work.
Yep.
And so they have to see how it's going to work for them really early on.
Yep, for sure. This is cool. So it's reprise.com, right?
Reprise. We're not
Reprise.
picking.
Look, I messed it up. I started well. I ended. Open big, close big. I open big, I close small. reprise.com. Is that, you just want to go to the homepage and just start?
Yeah, that's
the demo right there. I'm looking at. Schedule a demo, explore our solutions. So just send them to the homepage.
Yeah, you can chat with us right there. You can see a library of demos that our customers have built and what they've put up on their sites and do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, head on over to reprise.com and we're looking forward to talking to folks.
Stable, demo ready environment in seconds. Very nice. All right, Sam Clemens, Evan Powell, thanks for coming on, man. It's been great.
Thanks for having us, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.